Hello, ladies and gentlemen, the great Scott here, and welcome to today's virtual volunteer segment. And today we have a special guest. You notice that I've had a couple superheroes as guests on my segments so far. I had Batman, I had Superman here. I thought it was time to give the other side a voice, so today we have one of Marvel's biggest heroes. He spins a web any size, he catches thieves just like flies. Look out, he is the Spider-Man, coming to us from New York. How you doing there, Spidey? Nice to see you.
Hi, I'm so happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
No problem. It's nice to have you as our virtual volunteer for today. Anyway, so how are things going in New York? I know you guys were hit pretty hard by the coronavirus. Are you helping the first responders and stuff, making sure that no villains are taking advantage of this situation while all the first responders are treating to the patients?
Yeah, it's definitely pretty crazy, but the good news is crime is down, so there's not as many criminals running around right now, so that's good.
Well, we thank you for doing your part where you can. Now, because this is the virtual volunteer segment here, you get to be the volunteer for a virtual magic trick. And I have one here that is good for superheroes. I apologize that I did not know that I was going to have a Marvel hero here, because I have a magic trick here that's a little bit DC oriented. Spider-Man, do you recognize who this is that I'm holding right here?
That's my good friend Superman.
Yes, we had him on the show a while back. I'm going to put him right there on the table. And this guy was my last guest prior to you. Who's that right there?
I'd say that's Batman.
That is correct. These are the Fisher-Price little people. I'm not sure if they make one of you or not. I'll have to look into that. And who's this one right here?
That's Robin.
Robin, Batman's pint-sized sidekick right there. And this last one, brightest day, blackest night, no evil will escape this guy's sight. Who is this?
Is that the Green Lantern?
That is the Green Lantern, that's right. Now I'm going to put all four of them right here on the table. Here, I'll turn the thing. You can see them all here on the table, right? All in a row?
Yeah.
Okay. Now here, we have some cards. And these cards all have different, some of them are repeating, but you see that they all have different symbols on them, right? They all have different superhero symbols on them, correct? Here's where things get interesting. Let me just show the audience out there. They all have a different superhero symbol. I'm going to mix these up, Spider-Man, until you tell me when to stop. I won't even look at them while you do it. Please tell me when, right there. This is the one you stopped me on, so I'm going to put this one in front of our little superheroes. Now remember, you picked that card, not me. Okay?
That's right.
All right. Now normally, Spider-Man, when I do this trick, I'll bring up a volunteer and I will ask them to pick up the little heroes. Now, obviously, we have to practice social distancing, and obviously you're on the other side of a Zoom call here in New York, so you can't actually pick one up. But what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to ask you to tell me which one of these to pick up. Will you please tell me which hero do you want me to pick up in this hand?
The Green Lantern.
The Green Lantern, okay. Now, since I have another hand free, I want you to tell me another little hero to pick up in this hand.
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man's not an option.
Aww.
Sorry.
How about Batman?
Batman, okay. Now, did I tell you which ones to have me pick up?
Nope.
Okay, so you freely chose for me to pick up this one and this one, which means they are now both gone, leaving us with Superman and Robin. Of the two that we have left, this time I'm only going to pick up one. Tell me which one to pick up, please.
Robin.
Robin, okay. So since you told me to pick up Robin, he goes down here with the other ones you told me to pick up. Who is the one hero that I never laid hands on? Who is the one hero that you never told me to pick up?
I can't remember. Oh, it's Superman.
That's right. So Superman is the one that's left. And do you remember that you picked this card before we did any of that, right?
I did, yeah.
And here is the magic trick.
Whoa! Wow! That's crazy, the great Scott.
Thank you very much, Spidey. So once again, it's nice to have you on. It's nice to have you on the show, and we thank you for all the work you're doing in New York. Just out of curiosity, you know, it's kind of interesting. You're starting to get up there with the superheroes that story has been retold a lot of times on the screen. You know what I mean? Batman gets reinvented by Hollywood, I think, every 10 years or something like that. You, however, Spider-Man 3 came out, and then less than 2 years later, they came out with The Amazing Spider-Man. Then The Amazing Spider-Man 2, and then they decided to put you into the Marvel Universe. So in less than 10 years' time, there were 3 different actors who played you. Do you have a favorite? Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, or Tom Holland? Do you think
My favorite one is Spider-Man 3 with Tobey Maguire when he's dancing on the sidewalk.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
So you like Spider-Man 3?
Yeah, I do.
It's interesting. You heard it here first, folks. The real Spider-Man likes Spider-Man 3. That's one that gets panned by a lot of critics, believe it or not. A lot of people don't know this, but there was supposed to be a Spider-Man 4 with Tobey Maguire, but the whole thing, they were going to shoot 4 and 5 back-to-back because Tobey Maguire was starting to get older, and of course you're a teenager, so they had to make sure that he was the right age. And then of course you have that animated movie called Into the SpiderVerse, where you have Spider-Man from all different dimensions. Do you know what a lot of fans are trying to do? They're trying.
Sunflower?
No, they're trying to get Sony to make a Into the Spider-Verse live-action movie where they would bring back all 3 actors that portrayed you in the past 10 years in one film, and it would be like a different Spider-Man from each universe. So it would be
that sounds pretty interesting.
Yeah, Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, and Tom Holland all in one movie, all playing a different version of Spider-Man. So.
Wow, that'd be crazy.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know this, but Tobey Maguire was not the very first live actor to portray you on screen. There was a very short-lived Spider-Man TV series starring an actor named Nicholas Hammond. I'm sure that you know about that. Nicholas Hammond is an actor whose claim to fame is playing the oldest Von Trapp child in The Sound of Music. And then when he grew up, he played you on the Spider-Man show. I think the show only lasted like a season and a half, though. They were planning to do a crossover with the Incredible Hulk TV series, but it never got off the ground. So, anyway, now one thing that I should mention here, Spidey, is the fact that, you know, since crime is down in New York, one thing you're doing a lot of is you're doing a lot of appearances at drive-by parties. Is that correct?
That's right.
Yeah, for those of you that don't know what drive-by parties are, well, Spidey, do you want to tell them what drive-by parties are?
Sure. So, in this time of uncertainty and social distancing, a lot of kids that are having birthdays still want to have parties. And so the way that we're still throwing a party and being careful and safe is having a parade where everybody drives past your yard and waves at you from the streets. And I've been able to make a lot of appearances at those. So yes, I can wave and congratulate the kids on their birthdays from the streets, staying 6 feet apart.
Mm-hmm. I think one of the companies you work for is Sugar Plum Parties, and I'm actually their official magician. I'm doing a show for them at the beginning of June. And I think I might be helping you with one tomorrow, as a matter of fact. So I think that'll be interesting. It'll be nice to see you there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, let me see. Another question I have for you. You know, one of the interesting things about you, sir, is the fact that, you know, you're a hero who has never really been a part of a team, kind of like Captain America heads up the Avengers. There was actually, Stan Lee, before he passed away, he said that he wrote a story where you actually tried to audition to be part of the Fantastic Four. I thought that was interesting. But he came to the conclusion, he said that you and Daredevil were both better as individuals rather than part of a team, although Daredevil was part of the Defenders. What I thought was interesting is where you were not part of a team, there was a point where 6 of your adversaries teamed up to form the Sinister Six. And there was, at one point, going to be a Sinister Six movie, but that's one of the things that fell through. There has been a Venom movie, and there's rumors that you're going to be in the next Venom film. It's kind of like a crossover or whatever. I don't want to say favorite, because villains aren't really, you know, something that you like. But of your many adversaries, is there one that has kind of really held his own with you? Is there one that, when he comes calling, you know that it's going to be a tough road? I mean, I don't want to say who's your best enemy, but answer that question the best you can.
Yeah, Dr. Octopus and I have made up.
Oh, really? Okay. Yeah, so I know that also you're on pretty good terms with the guy who, I forget his name, I think it's Dr. Stewart, the guy who turns into the lizard as well, has also become one of your main allies as well.
That's right.
Well, it's good to know that you can mend fences like that, and you know, I don't want to talk, I could talk to you a little bit about, you know, what got you into crime fighting in the first place, but there's absolutely no way I could talk to you about that without revealing your identity. I just know, I think that we can say this much, you and Batman kind of both started down a similar path. It was the loss of a loved one that got you into this crime fighting life.
Oh, that's right, I miss him.
Yes, we won't mention his name, because if we mention his name, people might have a clue as to who you are.
You know what he told me one time?
What's that?
With great power comes great web slinging.
I think it was a little different than that, but the truth is it's a saying we've all heard over and over. What's the real saying?
With great power comes great responsibility.
You got that right. You got that right. Well, Spider-Man, I want to thank you very much for taking time out of your busy crime-fighting schedule in New York, and we hope that... I actually heard at a press conference this morning that New York's numbers are going down, similar to the numbers in Boston here are starting to go down, which is a good thing because, you know, we want... As much as these drive-by parties are great, I don't know about you, but I can't wait to get in front of a live audience again.
Me neither.
Yes. Thank you, Spider-Man, and thank you all for watching.
Bye, everybody.